Welcome back, Outlaws. On today's adventure, join us as we check out the ghost town of Grafton, Utah. Located just outside the entrance to Zion National Park is the historical ghost town of Grafton, Utah, somewhat off the beaten path, but well worth a visit. Situated close to the Virgin River, this area is beautiful and surrounded by rugged terrain. Only 8 structures out of the 33 remain of this town today. In January 1862, a raging flood destroyed most of Grafton, which was located 1 mile downstream from its present location. Grafton's existence is a testament to the early settlers' perseverance and industrious spirit. This is the home of pioneers Sarah and William Hastings. This is the only known photo of Sarah that exists today. In 1861, Sarah and William Hastings and their 3 children settled in Grafton. They lived in a wagon box, cooked over an open campfire, and lived on cane seed bread, pigweed, and sago lily roots. William bought a dugout from the Romney family. It is now just a depression in the ground behind the cabin. This lot is located on the corner across the street from the schoolhouse. The dugout was a room that was 12 feet by 14 feet. This was a hole dug in the ground and in the side of the hill. It was a simple structure that was walled up in the front with 2 windows and a door. William died in 1882 at the age of 58. Sarah lived there for over 50 years and moved from Grafton to Herkin in 1915. She died in 1920 at the age of 90. In 1947, this log cabin was moved from Beaver, Utah to the Hastings dugout lot in Grafton for the movie Ramrod. The cabin interior had plaster walls and was used extensively in the movie as Rose's home and the dressmaker shop. And now I'll share a little history as we walk to the next structure. In 1947, a tired group of pioneers stood at Immigration Canyon, grazing at the valley of the Great Salt Lake. Their leader, President of the Church of the Latter-day Saints, Brigham Young, said, "This is the place." The Saints, also known as Mormons, arrived in the Utah Territory after fleeing religious persecution in the United States. There, outside the U.S., Young hoped to establish the state of Deseret, where Mormons could practice their religion freely. In 1850, after the Mexican-American War, Deseret became a U.S. territory. We're now approaching the home of John and Ellen Smith Wood. They were married on January 6, 1850, in Stockport, Cheshire, England. They were the parents of 10 children, 5 living to adulthood. Their last daughter, Emily, was born in Virgin, Utah on December 21, 1862, the night they arrived in southern Utah. John was a farmer who raised cattle and worked in a blacksmith shop. He also made horsehair ropes and hackamores in his spare time. Ellen died on May 7, 1898, and is buried in the Grafton Cemetery. John lived in Grafton until 1909, then moved to Herkin, where he died on August 4, 1911, at the age of 87. In 1862, after their daughter Emily was born, the Woods moved to the small community of Duncan's Retreat and stayed there for a while. They decided to make their home in Grafton. It had about 30 families at the time, and they lived in a little 12 by 12 one-room mud house. First, they started by building a cellar. You'll see this a little later in the video. It was a good-sized room in a 6-foot hole. Down there, they baked adobe bricks for the walls of their house. It's kind of neat to know that these bricks that you see right here for the walls of this house were made right on site. At the time, this was quite a large home. With these 3 big rooms and these 3 porches, it must have been really comfortable back in the day. Another interesting fact is John and Ellen were both baptized in May 1851 by Elder Isaac Allen. This is the stairway to the cellar of their home. The stories that I've heard from some people is that this cellar is haunted. Let's go down and check it out, shall we? Now let's walk over and take a quick look at the Woods barn and a small outbuilding. Not long ago, this barn was renovated by the Grafton Heritage Partnership Project. Since food was scarce, John and the other men went to Long Valley near Orderville, Utah to plant grain. They had to go out and over the plains and around and through Short Creek, Arizona. Back then, it was located by Kanab, Utah. It took several days to make this journey home. A few years after Grafton was settled, in 1866, Grafton became a ghost town for the first time. When the Utah Territory was settled, the Upper Virgin River Valley was already inhabited by native Southern Paiute peoples. Pioneers, by necessity, settled the same places required by these pre-existing people for their survival. This competition for land and scarce resources often led to conflict, especially to the north. In 1886, Grafton residents hauled lumber 75 miles from Mount Trumbull and gathered clay from a pit west of town to construct the adobe schoolhouse, which stands at the heart of Grafton today. Grafton is also the filming site of several movies dating from 1928 to 1984. An interesting fact, in 1928, the movie In Old Arizona that was filmed here in Grafton was the first talking movie filmed outdoors. Here's a few scenes of a few of the movies that were filmed here in Grafton. Looking at the schoolhouse, not much has changed. It's been well taken care of over the years. The schoolhouse two-story walls stand on a solid foundation of lava rocks that were quarried from a nearby hillside. The townspeople use this building as a school, a community meeting place, a church, and a place for dances and plays. People would come from all the settlements on the Upper Virgin River to attend the community dances held on weekends. As was customary with dances in the early West, they continued into early morning, sometimes until dawn. Then the people would hitch up their wagons, buggies, or horses and head back home for Saturday chores and Sunday preparations. The last classes were taught in this building during the 1918-1919 school year, when enrollment had dwindled to 9 students. The following year, the students were transferred to the school at Rockville. Next, we'll be checking out the home site of Alonso Russell. This too has also been featured in many films. Alonso Russell was one of the early settlers of Old Grafton, arriving with his wife Nancy Briggs Foster and their children in December 1861. Alonso was the presiding elder of the Grafton branch from 1868 to 1877. He survived the Great Flood of 1862 that destroyed the town site, and they moved to higher ground. This is where he built a tent and then 3 similar log homes for his family. One log home is still standing across from the Russell home today. Later, he constructed this adobe house, which still stands as a testament to his craftsmanship. The front porch was a favorite spot for Alonso and his family to gather and enjoy music and conversation. Alonso was a talented musician who played drums and fifer in his family band, the Russell Band. His sons played various instruments such as fiddles, accordions, guitars, mandolins. Music and dancing drew the community together. Alonso was also a skilled blacksmith who provided essential services and products to the town. He made eating utensils, farm tools, fixed wagon parts, sharpened plows, and shod horses. He also devised a way to protect his cattle from the Indian raids by making hobbles that the Indians could not remove. Alonso had 4 spouses. His first wife, Fanny, died in childbirth in 1845. Shortly thereafter, he then married Nancy Briggs Foster. Alonso made Nancy a loom, and they carried it across the plains. Later, it was given to the Pipe Springs National Monument Museum. Alonso and Nancy had 9 children. The last 4 died as infants. In 1853, Alonso married Clarissa Hardy as a plural wife. She gave birth to 3 children before their divorce. One of the children died as an infant, and Alonso and his second wife, Nancy, raised the other 2. In 1856, Alonso married Nancy's sister, Louisa. Louisa gave birth to 9 children. Nancy lived in the large adobe home, and Louisa lived across the street in the small log cabin that has been restored and is there today. I'd like to take a little time now to read a couple paragraphs from the partnership's mission statement. The partnership's purpose is to preserve and enhance the outstanding historical, agricultural, scenic, riparian, and cultural values of the Grafton Historic Town Site for the benefit of present and future generations. The partnership is a cooperative nonprofit organization governed by a board of trustees selected from participating organizations and families. The partnership unites the interests of private landowners and community groups, as well as federal, state, and local governments, to protect and maintain the Grafton town site. If it wasn't for the partnership project, who knows where this town would be today. I'm thankful that they're managing and protecting this asset so that future generations can enjoy it as I have done.
Caught me.
As we exit the house and move across the yard, we make our way to Alonso's fourth wife, Louisa's house. This home was built in 1879 by Alonso for Louisa. It is a one-story gabled log home where Louisa raised 6 children. Alonso and his first wife, Nancy, returned to Grafton in 1868 after the Indian troubles. However, his fourth wife, Louisa, remained in Rockville. All these marks are from axes, hand-hewn. Yellow ceiling here. While in Rockville, Louisa gave birth to 3 more children there. She died in 1917 at the age of 77 and is buried in the Grafton Cemetery. This is the last structure we're going to be visiting on this little adventure. I hope you enjoyed coming along on this one with us, and stay tuned for many, many more. And once again, thanks for watching.